Iron Eagle joined us here on the program. Were you familiar with the old Salugi play in New York, where, like, some little kid, it'd be the dead of winter, like 3 degrees outside, icy conditions on the streets. You would grab his little hat that was covering his ears, and then throw it around, and you throw it to another guy. As you threw it, and the guy wasn't able to catch up to it in the game of Keep Away, you would yell Salugi. Should the Salugi play be eliminated from NFL games? This has been a question plaguing us because it's turned around a bunch of point spreads in games. I mean, it ruined Bill Belichick's season. Should that be a ban, the Salugi play, from the National Football League, in your opinion?
Yeah, I'm trying to think back. I don't remember the whole Salugi thing in Forest Hills. I think right? Mine. It's the same game, except mine was Horowitz. They would just yell out Horowitz.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that's the Jewish version of Salugi, because this came from an Italian neighborhood.
Exactly. So I think I played that game, but just a different version.
Yeah.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
All right, welcome to the show. Good to be with you here. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie Lubitz, the Defo Show. We have the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge today, and that's always a lot of fun. Dave Gurggles Gergely is going to be the master of ceremonies there, and there is a buzz around town about a possible surprise guest. I don't want to guarantee anything right now because technology being what it is, there's a good chance that we can't even connect on a telephone call, but we will see. I'm sure looking forward to it if it happens, because it's always a delight to talk to this particular gentleman, and he's been an inspiration for me on the comedic sports coverage side for ever, and a great observer of the sporting life. So a lot of insight with this gentleman, and we hope that he does make it onto the show today. I know Gurggles is in for sure, and then we'll be with you until 9 o'clock. We should have Brandon Lang on our Believe podcast today. He's always hysterical, although the black tranny references may have to be cleaned up before we actually take this to the next level there with our good partners at Greenlight Ventures. I do believe that Brandon Lang was in the company of one of the key executives, if not all of the key executives of Greenlight Ventures yesterday. And the boys were out in Las Vegas for a convention involving one of the companies that's part of the public company that's involved in the so-called shell that is being represented here by GRNL. Start buying that stock. No, I don't want to recommend that. I mean, that's not a good thing, right? That's what happened to Martha Stewart. No, she bailed out. So, somebody told her, hey, look, I got a horse in a 12th race, whatever, and but it can't win. So she didn't bet on it, right? Took all her money back. She might have bet the horse. And is that a crime, Lubie? Insider trading, man.
Yes.
Rudy Giuliani made that a very popular cause celeb, did he not? Insider trading. And, I guess, obviously, it's not fair to the, John Q. Public guy out there that's just trying to play the stock market. But if somebody told you, hey, by the way, Lubie, I know you have a huge vested interest in iHeartMedia, but they're going to go bankrupt tomorrow. And their stock is going to plummet from whatever it is down to like 2 cents a share. And you got that information on a Thursday. And you said, you know what? I'm going to divest myself of all of my interest in iHeartMedia instead of having them divest themselves of all interest in you, which is what happened. And, is it a crime? I mean, are you supposed to go, you know what? I know I'm going to lose all of my money tomorrow, but I'm just going to sit there and take it, right? It's kind of a very gray area there of, SEC legal, maneuverings, is it not? I mean, why should you be forced to take that beating, right? You find out before the ball game that, Tua is not going to play, right? And that Bridgewater's out and Skylar Thompson's going to be out there against the Buffalo Bills. If you were smart, you would just leave your bet on the, on the points line on the side, getting 13.5. But, if you canceled it, are you a criminal? No, you're just smart. So very, very interesting. But anyway, hopefully we'll have something to talk about there with Brandon Lang at Greenlight Ventures, which is now our new sort of project celeb here. Because we're going to be in charge of a lot of different things there, but they have to get off the ground. That's the initial thing. Just get this sucker off the ground. I think it's off the ground, but I'm not sure exactly, how much of a contribution we have yet to be able to make. Or, well, I know what we've yet to be able to make, which is we made a few connections so far for these guys and a lot of promising theory. But it could be good. It'll be fun for us if it ever mushrooms into what we think it is. The medical condition. Anybody need an update? I don't want to get like Mike Mayo here, where he goes and starts reading you his blood pressure, and has a little pulse thing on.
I love that he owns a pulsometer.
See, I don't know. I mean, he grew up in Brooklyn also, and you used to just shake off everything. Andy can relate to this. You just shook it off. Whatever it was that was bothering you, that was the common phrase. The guy would just say, "Shake it off."
Yep.
Right? Now, you can't shake off everything, right? I mean, you break your, arm. I mean, you're going to have to put it in a cast for a while. You can't just shake it off. But the first tendency was to finish the game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%.
Colds, I mean, unless you, barely were able to, step out of bed, you were playing. That never held you back. Now,
cold. I never gave a damn about a cold. Like, I literally, I feel selfish as hell now because you're just giving it to other people. But look, we did a show for how long? I never called in sick once. You're telling me I never got sick in 12 years? Like,
yeah, I think I had like maybe one sick day, and people were shocked. They thought I was on drugs. Because they'd see me come in there in just a horrific condition, and then you would figure they would just say to you, "Listen, DeForest, man, you're not helping anybody in a place where people are spitting all over microphones and sharing the same room, and it's a small room, and it usually has lousy air circulation, and it's enclosed also. I mean, so." You're not helping the rest of the people here in our other 7 radio stations by showing up to work today and being like that, right? Where you come in and you've put down like 8 cold medications.
Yes.
And you're just hoping to get through a segment without choking to death. And then every now and then you're giving Lubie the signal, just throw it to him. Anyway, I was quick to condemn. Well, let's get back to Mayo here first because
Yes.
I mean, the ultimate. I know somebody that's as much. I don't know if he's as much of a hypochondriac as Michael, but Big Al is like that, right? Where Big Al gets bit by a mosquito. A friend of mine named Big Al. We talk about him a lot, and he actually was sort of a quiet contributor to the show. And then he would come up with ideas, and he always wanted to challenge the Greek in knowing who knew more uniform numbers from players, from all different sports, and they were both pretty good at it. But nonetheless, Big Al, he get bit by a mosquito, and then he'll say, "Hey, look at that! Is that a lump? That's a lump." Like I'm an oncologist all of a sudden, I mean,
I'm
saying, I don't know. Looks like a mosquito bite to me, Al. I think you'll be fine. You're standing here screaming for horses in aqueduct as they cross the wire. I mean, you seem to be in pretty good shape. No, I'm going to die. I want you to, make sure that my mother's taken care of. I'm like, what are you talking about? You got bit by a fucking mosquito.
He's going to use last rites.
Calling rabbis. Mayo's that to an extreme. He really is. I don't want to, spend too much time dumping on Mike. He's a good guy.
No, he's great. He's got a whole list. All right, Devo needs to do this and this and that. I'm like, what? Devo's not going to do any of that. Like, you have to know Devo's not doing any of it.
Well, I mean, I was feeling better. I mean, I still got a little bit of a throat tickle. So, I may be coughing here through the segment because talking kind of exacerbates the situation more than anything else. But nonetheless.
You sound better.
Okay, so I was very critical of my primary care doctors after I called in the afternoon and got nothing, no reaction whatsoever. It turned out they had farmed out the call somewhere. And excuse me for a second.
What ended up happening?
Did you ever hear I called in the morning, and they did get back to me, and they prescribed a bunch of shit.
Okay.
And they took care of it, so it was good.
Have you done that? Have you taken the stuff? Like, is it what do you do?
It doesn't look like it is. I'm joking to death here, but I just got caught in the wrong shoe here. Yeah. I assure you, I'm fine.
It's working great.
It's a talking. You're not used to it. Projecting a little bit here.
I get
so, just one last one, and then I'm good to go. Sorry, people. Anyway.
Anywho.
They prescribed a bunch of stuff, and I'm assuming it's going to work. I feel 1,000% better, even though I'm choking to death and, starting to develop a heavy sweat. But I feel good. I really do. And, the fatigue is kind of going away a little bit. I actually did a mini walk of life on a broken toe yesterday.
Nice.
Just tested it out with a nice breeze of a mile, and I'm ready to go today, and then I'm going to go back to my regular 4-mile-a-day walk. So I think things are on the up and up. They gave me the usual stuff, Paxlovid or whatever that is, and some other stuff that's supposed to prevent coughing. Actually, there was a mix-up at the pharmacy. They call in a prescription to the place I usually get my stuff, Publix, and because I had made a call, an inquiry, just to see if they ever called anything in the night before, I knew that Publix didn't carry this Paxlovid or whatever it is. Not sure exactly what it's called, but anyway, so when Mustang picked up the prescription for me, they only gave her like one thing, and it had nothing to do with anything that I've seen associated with COVID-19.
Yeah.
So it turned out that they didn't carry it, but they didn't bother to tell anybody that even though it was ordered, they don't have it, right? So they just gave me the one thing, charged me for the what would have been the two prescriptions, and CVS Pharmacy, Lauderdale by the Sea. I got to give them a lot of credit. Called them, couldn't have been any more accommodating, and they took care of it for me. They were able to transfer this prescription, so I'm on all the drugs right now.
There you go.
I took 8 pills this morning. A couple were supplements, but nonetheless, 8 pills to get to the show today. But feeling very good. Mayo had us going to the Mayo Clinic, literally.
Yes, 100%.
And having no chance of recovery. I mean, 0 chance.
Like it's over. He's fine. You need to check his oxygen. Like breathing was never his. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not having any trouble breathing. That's for sure. I actually feel, pretty good today, even though I started out in a choking fit here, but feel very good and looks like, well on my way to recovery. So that's the good news.
Thanks.
But I couldn't believe it. Yeah, he's got this thing on. He's got an IV unit hooked up to his arm, and he's fine.
There's nothing wrong with it. He's like, I feel out of it. It's like, you're fine.
Yeah, he's fine. He's absolutely has no problem whatsoever.
I've never been like that. Like my sister's like that. Like she'll run to the doctor when she has a little tickle, and it's like
they'll tell you something's wrong with you. That's the thing. Yeah.
Like I had full on strep in college, and it was when I couldn't swallow my own saliva that I was like, maybe I should go to the doctor.
Yeah. I remember I had mono when I was at the Cuse there. I think it was like my sophomore year, might have been junior year, whatever. And for a couple of days, I mean, I could literally not move. I mean, this really knocks you on your ass. Mononucleosis. If you've had it, I guess it was fairly common, and especially, for whatever reason at that time, it seemed like if you didn't get mono, then obviously you hadn't had a date
You weren't doing it.
in 2 years. But and I refused to go like to the infirmary for like a week, and then I barely crawled in there, and the guy said, "Wow, it's a good thing you came now, man. You're just like about on your last leg here." If you don't get some kind of a treatment, so, and it took a couple of days to recover, and that was that was good. But anyway, so hopefully all will be well, and looks like we're heading in the right direction, both with the foot and the disease. And I may not be able to make it out to Gulfstream. Was recommended I stick around the house there for like 5 days or whatever. The old Quarantito. Remember when Tito Puente Jr. coined himself Quarantito at the beginning of COVID-19? We had him on a show. I'll be banging a bongo drum here from home, I guess, for the next couple of days. But good to be, good to be feeling well and to be with you, and have the trivia challenge on tap here, which is going to be a lot of fun. All right, a couple of things, and here's a trivia question. This guy just checked out. Okay. We had to scratch out our special guest. Wow,
Yeah, that's I'm glad you didn't mention him by name. You never know.
There goes that aspect of the show. You never know. I mean, we were that close.
You're close.
We were that close.
I try.
I think he's going to be a big part of our Greenlight Ventures.
I hope so. He's great.
I have him penciled in as one of the key ingredients on the Geezers at Caesar show that we want to do. So hopefully he'll be able to, be with us, throughout. That doesn't necessarily have to entail a regular, consistent, same time every week schedule. So it might be good for this particular person. Not that we're talking about the Polyman. I love the guy, man. I want to go. I want to go to my grave working with the Polyman. I really do.
Involved. He's great.
Yeah. Chris Ford checked out. Chris Ford. Remember Chris Ford? Played with the Celtics. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh,
and didn't he coach the Celtics also?
Yeah, I remember him as a coach for the Celtics in the 90s.
Okay. I mean, do you know his trivia distinction? It's a fairly significant one, Mike Lubie. The trivia distinction of Chris Ford, basketball player.
No, I remember being the coach when the Celtics sucked, like in the D Brown era. I didn't know him as a player, really. Chris Ford,
yeah. Oh, he was a decent player. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't the greatest or anything. It wasn't like he was going to remind you of Pistol Pete Maravich. But no, a very functional player. I want to say was kind of like a sixth, seventh man. Played a very effective backcourt. Was a polished, fundamental guy. Wasn't surprising, like maybe Chris Quinn, that he would end up being a good coach. Is Chris Quinn a good coach? I don't know. He's been an assistant there for Spolster for many years. Doesn't say much, right? Does anybody give Spolster any advice? Why does Spolster need 11 assistants when none of them speak? Have you noticed that? None of them ever say a word, and they don't look happy. They don't look happy on the bench there. They're up 25 the entire game last night against New Orleans, and all the coaches have that look on their face like, oh, shit, we're all getting fired.
I've seen them talk, actually, but they do all look bitter. They always look like Malik Allen, and Zoe, and in the past, Howard and Quinn. They always have the, all right, who we're going to yell at.
Yeah.
It's like
basketball really that treacherous of a game to be sitting on the sidelines making $2 million a year as an assistant coach. That, I mean, what are you really coaching anymore except telling a guy, go ahead and shoot it, hoist it,
or not shoot it.
I did watch some of that game last night. The Heat and the Pelicans. Unfortunately, you weren't really watching the Pelicans because the Pelicans now 26-19 on the season. Had been playing really good basketball, but they haven't the mystery toe of Brandon Ingram.
Well, no, Zion too. Did Zion?
Well, Zion's had a hamstring, and they said he was going to miss like, maybe 8-10 games or something like that, because they don't want to, take any chances with Zion Williamson because he's finally been playing. I mean, he missed all of last season.
Great.
He's having a good year. Really distinguished himself. They gave him all of that money, and you thought, wow, how could you possibly, you talk about a high risk guy in terms of injury. Like, do you extend Tua? I don't know, but with Zion Williamson, you had already spent like a fortune with a number 1 overall pick, and were you going to extend him when he never played? Did he miss his entire rookie season also? I mean, didn't he have some kind of thing in his rookie year?
Yeah, Zion's been hurt every year.
Yeah.
Yes, that's been the problem with weight, with feet.
Yeah,
and he hasn't lost weight. He's only maintained his weight, and it's impressive that he's that athletic for his size. But at some point, it's going to end. Yes, Zion's always been hurt every year. This was the first year he actually played a lot of the year, and then was hurt.
And he was doing well, yeah. And a very exciting player because he just doesn't look like he should be able to function that well inside. That was a big concern. I mean, the guy's what, 6'4", 6'5"?
He's 6'5", yeah, he's like 6'4", 6'5". But he's
it's like Adrian Dantley going in there. I mean, and you've had other guys that were effective, as that type of player, but not, you wouldn't think today with the abundance of guys that are 6'10" plus playing in the NBA. It's not like the old days, right, where Connie Dierking was 6'8" and he was the biggest guy in the league.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, he was having a good year, and Ingram had been brilliant. I mean, made that trade of Anthony Davis to the Lakers not look so devastatingly one-sided, even though, Davis was saying he didn't want to play in New Orleans anymore. And you would think New Orleans would not be a good place for Zion Williamson to be situated. I mean, would he not be better off like eating a walleye in Minnesota with the Timberwolves? I mean, imagine Zion on Bourbon Street. That's a sodium bloodbath every day out there. That's what you're fighting. You're fighting for your life every day in New Orleans.
100%. To eat healthy there is like the biggest waste.
12 grilled oysters with Parmesan cheese and oil and all of this stuff is like a salad there.
100%. Like they find ways to make seafood not healthy. Like everything is like, Jesus, how did you do that?
I mean, when you're pulling like stuff out of the muddy Mississippi, I guess you need to disguise the taste. But wow,
they do a good job of it.
Yeah, redfish. That's some of them redfish.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's like
redfish, like live in garbage cans. I mean, it's unbelievable. Anyway, it wasn't much of a ball game last night without the two big stars there. McCollum was in the game for New Orleans, but and he had a good ball game, but they were no match whatsoever. The Heat were on fire, by the way. They were playing like really good basketball last night, all the way around.
He came back and was a big part of it, and gave Vincent some good. And
so they're actually making a little move here, Lubie. I know you've been down on your Miami Heat all year, 25-21. They're a top 10 team defensively, which is not necessarily something you would consider, as a given because they don't really have. I mean, Bam's their big man; he's having a great year all the way around. But they don't really have that like Rudy Gobert type, standing by the basket there, blocking shots and doing things like that. Their starting five has only been together, and I guess they include Caleb Martin as part of the starting five. Is that a fair thing to
Yes,
do?
yes,
That they've only been together 14 games this year. They've started 14 games together. Tyler Hero,
They've all
Butler, Adebayo. Do we have Max Strus as a starter or
this
Caleb
group
Martin?
doesn't start because
Yeah.
Hero now is entrenched in the
Oh,
starting.
Lowry's the other starter.
Lowry starts at guard, and
Okay.
Oladipo and Vincent play starters minutes, but they are not starters with this group.
All right, so they're making a little ascent here because I mean
Yeah,
they were sub 500 not that long ago. Like
the
just
3 games
last
out
week.
of the 5, they're 3.5 out of the 4, and the 3.
Yeah.
I mean, they're right there. I mean,
All right.
and they're rumored to be involved in, and I'm trying to get him on. It's funny, Sean Devaney, who we've had on for years, is now like a guy that breaks a lot of heat reports. So I'm trying to get him on again, and we had him on last week. Like they're involved in a lot of trade rumors because they are close.
So who do they need to get? What do they need?
They're looking at either the guy with the Hawks, John, the big guy. I always forget his last name. The guy from the Hawks, the big guy, but people aren't sure if he would work with Bam. And they're also looking into going younger at guard. Like they like D'Angelo Russell a lot.
Collins, kid Collins.
John Collins, good for you. John Collins,
he's a good player,
who's really good. And the trade that's out there is an amazing trade. Like it'd be Caleb Martin, Duncan Robinson, and a first-round pick. Like they don't give up anyone good. Like that'd be insane to get him for that.
Caleb Martin's not a bad player.
Fine, but I mean, John Collins is better, and they'd be.
Well, Duncan Robinson, unfortunately, has become.
They don't even use Robinson,
for lack of a better term, dead weight. I mean, he got the big contract, which it's not enormous by NBA standards, but it's big enough to, make you think that they should make some use of this guy. And for some reason, he just fell out of favor. And how did he lose his moxie? This guy, he was a good ball player.
Look, you saw it years ago, and he's a little bit better. But Steve Novak did that. I remember that year that he played the Knicks in the playoffs, and the Knicks were excited because they had Carmelo and Amari, and then you had Steve Novak shooting threes. The problem is all Steve Novak could do was shoot threes.
Yeah.
So you D up on him, and then you just attack him on offense. He can't, and that's sort of Robinson in a sense. Robinson
is kind of floundering around when
there's nothing he can do.
It's isolated on.
So you're playing 4-on-5 on defense. So like he's sort of a waste, and this team is so big on defense that like if you notice everyone that they play, especially at the end of the game, Hero is usually the only weak link. Everyone else is a stud on defense. Like Robinson doesn't fit. He just doesn't fit in this group. So, like, if you can get a John Collins, it's great. The problem is people wonder if Collins and Bam will work together. So, I don't know.
Collins, struck me as being a guy that was more than willing to capitulate to doing whatever it took for the team to win. He seemed like a very solid, type of NBA player and somebody that you would want on your team and could spark up a team also.
Well, he does the stuff that Bam's worked on, but Bam doesn't. Like he can shoot a 3-ball. His mid range is really good. He attacks the basket. He does play defense. Like they're just worried. It's not that he's selfish. It's that his game fit with Bam's game. Like that's what people are concerned. Right, they complement each other. I don't know. I like that the Heat have made this.
I take a shot at it and worry about it later. I
mean, it always seems to work out for the Heat when they do stuff like
that. An interesting game too. I was checking out parts of this game. Atlanta ended up winning the game in Dallas as. You had Luka Doncic's parents were at the game, or his father was at the game, sitting next to Mark Cuban, and it looked like Cuban, owed. I mean, this is not to cast any aspersions at the appearance of the family of Luka Doncic, but if you were in trouble with people in the European mob, it looked like these were the kind of guys they would send to send you a message that you better change your tune, Marco. I mean, did you see these guys? And, scarred up faces and real tough looking, the kind of guys you see in a crowd at the British Open on a particularly nasty weather day. Didn't it look like he was with like mafia hitmen, like European mafia hitmen?
Like the big guys that don't say anything, they just stand there, and you're like, oh shit.
Everybody had that kind of, real, sort of mob character type of face. You see hanging around when a guy walks into the wrong place in a movie and, he's in some place in Europe and, you realize that you're not going to be welcome there. And it's like, holy shit, man, how badly are they going to bust me up? But and Luka, naturally, I mean, he's always going to put on a show. I mean, we had this discussion with, and it's hypothetical, and I do believe that the answer seems to be fairly obvious that, I mean, the Dallas Mavericks pulled off a major coup in getting Luka Doncic and talking the Atlanta Hawks into drafting Doncic for them at the third pick. I don't know why they had to go. They could have just traded the picks and done it straight up. But they ended up, the Hawks had their eyes on Trae Young. And Trae Young's a good ball player. Not my favorite, right? Because he's sort of the poor man's Iverson, isn't he? Would you say that that's a fair statement?
Yeah,
I think Iverson was known as a good defensive player, though, too, also, which was kind of surprising. Didn't he have a lot of steals?
Got a lot of steals. I don't know if he was a good defensive player. He was.
Yeah, I mean, he was. He was like 5'10", this guy. He was shorter than I was, even though he was listed at what, 6'2", NBA by NBA standards. He was 6'3".
It's funny. He's more efficient and he's a better passer. Like he actually gets really good assist numbers, which Iverson.
He throws a nice lob to the basket. I mean, that he does well.
He's a more well-rounded offensive player, but yes, he does feel sort of Iverson. He's a short guy who's athletic, who does some crazy stuff.
Yeah. Iverson didn't have those finishes, though, where like he would do a 360 spin and then reverse directions again, and then throw up some kind of a looping shot underhanded, but it would miss everything. One of those things where the guy just has the ball the entire time and then ends up throwing a shot that's an air ball short from 4 feet away from the basket. Just throws it up there, and you're like, what the fuck are you doing, man? That's the best we could come up with on that play. Right, and then you lose your incentive too if you're the other guys. Although he is big with assists and he does seem to have the team involved. They played a good ball game last night though, Atlanta, and they beat the Dallas Mavericks in Dallas. So that was impressive. I don't know if Cuban was under threat to deliberately lose that game, because if you didn't know that was Doncic's father, you would have sworn those were people from some European division of FanDuel.
So I just looked it up because I didn't see it last night, but. I see a lot of pictures of him with a guy, and I guess it's his dad. And it does look like the
big guy. Kind of looks a little like Doncic. Looks a little bit like him. Obviously, it's possible, but he's got like a big scar. And I mean, he looks like Luca Brasi. Actually,
it looks like the dude that is the boss, and you do not mess with him.
I'm looking. I'm going. Wow, when is this guy going to just take piano wire and put it around Cuban's neck? If Dinwiddie keeps hoisting up threes from the Coke machine. Come on. That was unbelievable. All right. You never got around to the trivia question. We're going to get into Dave Gurggles Gergely here because Gurggles is a busy man.
Right. The people on the chat got it right.
They already put it up there? I wasn't really following that.
The first 3-point shot. The first 3-point.
You made the first 3-pointer in NBA history. Chris Ford. Yeah. Is that... Well, it's in every headline, so, I mean, I guess it wouldn't be that uncommon for people to know that now. I wouldn't have known that unless I happened to hear it when I heard about his passing. Very young man, though. I mean, 74, 5.
Well, that sucks.
See, when I see that bothers me more than Mayo's hypochondria, right? That, wait a minute, guys that were generally healthy their entire life. This guy was never overweight. He was a professional athlete, probably one of those athletes that maintained some form of physicality, as he went through life, had all the money in the world, from being a pro basketball player and coach. So it wasn't like he was under a lot of stress, right, late in life, and affected his heart and his blood pressure and all that stuff. 74. Whoosh, check, please. Unbelievable. That's, that's too soon, right? I mean, that's a couple of years away. If that could happen to me, I'll take all of this Paxlovid and whatever, and I'm doubling up on the walk of life today. I'm not even going to hold back. The toe held up pretty well, Lubie. Very little, if any, feeling whatsoever of the fact that it's still slightly fucked up. All right, can we bring in Dave Gurggles Gergely for the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge? Excellent.
There he is. Good morning, Mr.
I was going to get into some Australian Open stuff. I had some, look at this. I had like a page full of observations.
Of the Australian Open.
Well, there's some interesting things going on there.
Happy.
I love it. I love Grand Slam events in tennis. I especially love the ones in Europe because they're on in the middle of the night, which is usually I pop open an eyeball and go, it's only 3 o'clock. Good. I got 3 more hours of sleep. And then, you get caught up in a match, right? You're seeing something good going on. Dave, how are you, my friend?
Doing terrific. Whole lot better than last week. Last week, if you remember, I was suffering from the flu. I did this show, worked a couple hours, went home. But whenever I get like the flu, I throw everything at it. I spend more money at CVS than I do at Hialeah Park or Gulfstream when I get that. And then next day,
what'd you throw at it? So, you got rid of it? Yeah, nice.
Well, Tylenol, cold and flu, NyQuil, CVS, Mucinex. Something else.
Yeah,
and
Mucinex.
Yeah, well, is that what works? Pretty good? Yeah. But anyway, that Chris Ford question, I used on our show, and I probably could find it somewhere in 1999.
Wow.
On the back then, wherever what we were, the Sony Sports Showdown. I used it on our show back then in '99. So I knew Chris Ford very well, and I watched him play at Villanova. I believe he went, right?
That could well be. I'm not sure about that. I remember, Chris Ford being a decent ball player and a somewhat respected coach. It wasn't the greatest era of Celtic basketball, as I recall, but nonetheless, the first three-pointer, though, came in what year, Gergs? Do you know off the top of your head?
Oh, boy, that part I don't know.
You have to figure what? 70s, right?
Yeah, it's 70s. I mean, the ABA obviously had it first.
Right.
The NBA adopted it, but I would say maybe after the merger, because I think they adopted it at the same time. So maybe 74, 76, right in that era.
That's why I don't know why I wanted to say 74, but that could have been Chris Ford's age also.
Yeah, Chris Ford was 74. So let's say he did it when he was 23. So we go back, 51 years? So right there, it's, early 70s, right in there. Yep.
If it was degenerate math, if I ask you if you had an exacta 6.5 times that played 2860, you would have come up with the number right away. But
oh, yeah, it's 172.40.
Yeah, subtracting like 50 from 100 is tough. Let me see, 49. Yeah, 50. All right, we're going to get into the trivia challenge with Dave Gurggles Gergely. So you got over this thing. I ended up, and I always think that I'm going to be fine the next day. And I've had some hellacious colds down here in Florida, and I've been more sick than I was, many, many times, with colds and flus and things that hit you here. And we have some hellacious bugs, but I mean, it's almost like we are the flying palmetto of flu bugs. And when you get one of the really wicked ones, it can really be overwhelming. I mean, they just knock you on your ass. But I remember you telling me after you got the first COVID shot, you had the Moderna shot. And I remember when you got it, you felt like you'd been hit by a truck for a day. And
right,
I
don't know that ache.
Yeah, I didn't have any body aches or any of that stuff, but and so I assumed, like you, that I maybe had a flu. I was taking some Mucinex and seemed to be feeling better, and then I just arbitrarily, because of the Mustang hounding me, took the COVID test, and it turned out it was positive. So,
okay.
Yeah, thus explaining the fact that I couldn't shake this thing, and and now I feel sort of fine. I mean, I'm as close to normal as I've been in a few days, but definitely not a pleasant thing. That's for sure. The whole COVID feeling, but you were afflicted. What? I mean, your body was hurting and everything.
Yeah, and that was some of the side effects they said of the Moderna shot. You'll feel a body ache, and I did for one day, and then I was fine. And now I've been to my local Publix, and I'm looking. I've had 2 boosters already, and now they say there's another one out. They suggest. Yeah, I'm going to get that one pretty soon.
It might not be a bad idea. I skipped that one, and I don't know if it would have prevented me from getting the thing. I think you still get it anyway, but
but it could have lessened.
Right.
Maybe it wouldn't have been quite as bad. All right, and activity there in Miami Lakes is going well. I mean,
that's why I was worried about last week, because Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of last week was our member tournament, and the highest it got was 50 degrees. It was 41 degrees when I got here Sunday morning at 6:30, and Saturday morning as well. But we had a great time, and you would love it, because when we do our tournaments and teams of 2, we end up making horses across the board and allow pari-mutuel betting among the golfers. So it's really,
nice.
You'd get a kick out of that. Yeah, a lot of fun. Yeah, our guys do a great job, a great activity. And I'm just getting ready. I look at my calendar. I got all kinds of stuff coming up, starting probably in March. But in February, I've got a group coming in from Butler, Pennsylvania for their 52nd straight year, and one from Ohio for their 48th. So we're gearing up.
Same group, 52 years?
Season.
Same people?
Yep, 52 years. Wow. And last year, they're called the Fraser Group. Last year, the ones that came for the very first time, one was 80, the other was 78. They both shot their age on our golf course in 18 holes.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible.
I could do in 9 probably. Yeah, really, really good. And great guys, too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite a distinction to be able to. I mean, people don't realize it that don't play, but shooting something under 80 is actually, quite an accomplishment. Very, very difficult to do without a certain amount of, leverage with the rules, which you witnessed it. I remember when the guy came running out to start there at when it was called Shula's, and we were burning the USGA rule book right there on the first tee. He came running out with like some rubber boots on and stomped the thing out. Told us, we better stop fucking around because coach is home and he's lived off like number 8 or something. I mean, imagine Shula spies you with binoculars and sees you setting fire to his golf course, that wouldn't have been good at all. Bad enough we peed on his lawn there at Indian Trace, whatever that is. All right, we're going to get into the game. Hialeah Park, are you in the tournament? Are you going to go? Are we trying to talk Mike Mayo into joining?
I don't know if I'll make the tournament. I will definitely be there for Pegasus Day, because sometimes I go to Gulfstream and I don't know if I want to pay $250 to sit at Fernando's bar for Pegasus Day. So I'll probably spend really $10 and get my own table. They're full force in there. Yep, yeah.
But really,
I don't know the exact number, but
they ante up $250 to go to the track for a day.
Yeah, it's $125 general admission.
Wow.
So that means just getting in without any seats. Yeah, so it's that's their big day. I don't blame them. God bless them.
Hey,
I'll go to Hialeah, spend $10, get my own table. Yeah, wow. That's fine with me.
And you fit in with the crowd there too. I mean, you fit in anywhere.
Yeah.
Because you're just that kind of guy. But the crowd at Hialeah Park is always great to be a part of. I enjoy watching races there and betting horses there because it's just a heck of a lot of fun. You don't have a lot of stiffs. Everybody, gets excited, and there's something about that Latin vibe at a racetrack that it was always fun hanging out down on the ground floor there at Calder, back in the day, and there would be various international contingents at different outposts. And, the Latin crowd was always the one that was just festive. They're hoisting a few and having a good time. And it's perfect for that. And the champion simulcasting room. Now the details on the contest are great. I mean, $500, $200 to the prize pool, and the, slight bit of expenses that are involved in terms of staging the tournament, and then also having the food and beverage that they're giving you, breakfast and lunch. And then $300 your bankroll. Is it just win place betting? Do you know how that works?
Win, place, and show. And the only two tracks are Gulfstream and Aqueduct. So you don't have to worry about somebody, having a $40 winner at the fairgrounds or something like that. It's Gulfstream and Aqueduct only. And you make a certain amount of bets. You're the 300 that you're betting, whatever you have left, even if you don't qualify for the grand prize, is yours.
Yeah.
Which I had the last time I was in one. So it's a really, really neat event. And the food, I can tell you, is always terrific. I would get there early for that. But still time to register.
I was going to say,
HialeahPark.com.
The prize is we're chasing, right? The seat at the NHC, and I've been to a few NHC tournament events. It's fantastic. It's just the best time. That whole thing there. It's centered at Bally's, and everybody that's in there is in the tournament. They're talking horses all day. After the tournament, they're all punching away. And you can just sit in there. They got this giant room set up. It's fantastic, well catered affair, and it's a ball. And you're competing for a chance to win about $800,000. So. You used to be able to buy your way into the thing. I don't think you can. I think you have to qualify in either one of the online events or one of the live events. And this would have to be the last live event because the NHC is in February. So like a couple of weeks later, this may be one of those things like the old radio promotions, Gurggles. I don't know. You probably were a part of one or two of these at Shula's where they tell you, hey, bring your suitcase because somebody's going to win a cruise to Cozumel, but you're leaving right now. Right at the drawing. Remember that? They used to do that with wet t-shirt
we did that,
and stuff. Yeah, bootleggers. That was great. And you would have to bring your suitcase.
Or in your case, when you gave away cruises, you could say, bring your fire extinguisher. I remember that one. Yeah.
I still never forget that. The Polyman literally and I are doing a show. We were doing a trivia challenge at, I think it was midnight. It was either 11 o'clock or midnight on a Friday. And at WIOD. And we had given away those cruises, which Polyman you had assumed had acquired under somewhat fugazi circumstances. Because they came from some Bahamian trainer that owed him money, and so he gave him these certificates. And the qualifications, the disclaimer, what was like 3 pages long, and the actual prize was only 2 lines. You have won a cruise. And I said to her, so we actually see a ship sinking in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean on its way to, the Bahamas or something. And then we see 3 guys in WIOD shirts diving in, and they were the guys that won the contest. It was like Brian Andrews hovering over in a Channel 7 helicopter. And I think you could see these guys mouthing the words, "Fuck you, DeForest." Fuck you. Classic, man.
Oh, my God.
That's why we retained Lipschitz all of those years, man. We paid them all of that money, and they staved off a lot of this kind of trouble. All right, we're going to come back with the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Gurggles is ready to go. He's got questions far more difficult than who made the first three-point shot in NBA history, especially, asking that in conjunction with the passing of Chris Ford, who was the answer to that question. And you'll have a chance to win a Landlubber's gift certificate. Lubie will be there tonight, right?
Yes, sir. 6:30. The professor and I will be out there ready for action.
Very good. And, and some of the Chronics, I would imagine, will be on hand for this. And it's always a great time. Landlubber's really a great spot. That is a great spot for the Saturday and Sunday NFL activities also.
Oh, my God. Well, Safrino's like 50-something TVs.
Yeah. And the people have an interest usually in a game, both vested and, emotional. And so it's just a great atmosphere, great vibe. It's almost like being there, only with better food and at much better prices. So, absolutely fantastic. Landlubbers, Lubie will be there tonight. You can win a gift certificate to go there. I have to have this computer remind me tomorrow about the thing. How many days does that statute of limitations, last before it expires, where you keep clicking remind me tomorrow?
Oh, for the update? Oh, you need to do the update.
And they finally say, there is no tomorrow.
Do the update when we get off.
Okay. All right, I'll do it. When they remind me tomorrow, I'll do it this time. I don't want to do it in the middle of the show. That would have kind of sucked. Yeah.
No, you can't do it in the middle of the show.
Discombobulating everything. There goes Gurggles. There goes Hialeah Park. There goes your Landlubbers. All right, back with the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge in a moment. Now that.
The time.
We came that close today, Gurggles. That close to having a very special guest on the program. It's 7:43. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. Since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Oh, Solo Volante will be coming late. Oh, Solo Volante, the Belmont's now 1.8 miles. The finish line is coming up quick. Luca Panici, just switch the stick.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on the Defo Show.
All right, that was Gurggles choking to death there during the break, and so people are fearing for my life here, so I just wanted to give my health update. He was nearly on the show today. Came within an eyelash. Lubie had it all set up. And he was committed right up until post time, which was...
He was great. He pulled a Paulie Man even as a guest.
Yes, as a guest on the telephone.
Late scratch.
He pulled a late Paulie Man scratch. But he was going to join us today. Solo Volante ran the other day. Did you see that?
I saw it. Yeah, I bet him. He ran, what, 5th or 6th, I think.
Yeah, it was a 20-1 shot. Luca wasn't the rider anymore. But nonetheless, Luca has had a couple of good wins there at Gulfstream Park. Very solid. Almost won back-to-back races. I was very proud of our man, Luca Benici. 11-1 shot. Came right back on another 10-1 shot and led right to the wire. Just got beat. And, that would have been really something to go back-to-back there. And have the old Lafitte pink eye, natural double. All right, we're getting ready to play the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Hialeah Park, don't forget about the handicapping contest. It's January 29th. Sign up online, hialeahpark.com. That's going to be great. Win a seat to the NHC. Always great, the virtues of Hialeah Park. I mean, the place is just absolutely one of the most entertaining spots that you can land anywhere here in South Florida, including the Big Guitar and all of these other places. I mean, they really give you your money's worth of entertainment at Hialeah Park. All right, Dave, I mean, are you ready to go in honor of the Polyman?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we will begin the game in a somewhat traditional fashion now without the Polyman, but also with his innovation of starting every set or first set of questions with some
easy baseball. This comedian on his friend Jack Benny, known for his thriftiness, said, Jack once was asked to throw out the first ball at a World Series game, but he looked at the ball and instead of throwing it out, he put it in his pocket and sat down. What was that? George Burns, George Weaver, Doodles Weaver, or Dream Weaver?
Okay, going to roll the random phone scrambler. By the way, we haven't given out the phone number here. I don't know if it's rolling on the screen, but it's 954-417-0070. 954-417-0070. Always good to know where to call if you're going to play a radio contest game and or a streaming contest game. And so we do have Ron with the scrambler. Start us off today. Ron, you're on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge.
Good morning, fellas. Let's go with A.
You hit that one right on the head, my friend. Good start.
Hoops, Ron, true or false? Believe it or not, in the 1990s, Gary Payton, former Heat player, was a primary investor in a restaurant called the Kingfish Cafe. True or false?
Kingfish Cafe, wow.
Let's go true.
That is true.
That was in Seattle, out in Seattle. Yes, sir.
That wasn't shut down for political reasons, correctness reasons?
No, not with Amos and Andy. I remember that very well.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, the racial undertones never really impacted me as a kid. I mean, I lived in a very diverse neighborhood there, but I thought Amos and Andy was an hysterical show. That's my recollection. And yet it's been completely whitewashed, so to speak, pardon the pun, from, I mean, you never see any episodes of that offered up anywhere. What was it, that?
Nowhere.
I mean, racially slanted. I mean, it was a show, it seemed like, for black people. Is my recollection. I don't know. I mean, the Kingfish was a great character.
The way they were portrayed, probably did not sit well.
A little derogatory,
with, Kingfish and Sapphire and the whole gang. I remember it like yesterday. You're right.
It was hysterical. Yeah, I guess they had a little Aunt Jemima kind of feel to it, which probably wouldn't go over big today. And out of respect, should be, no longer in the public view. All right, but it was a funny show. I mean, I remember as a kid being wildly entertained by this thing, and I don't feel like it influenced me in any way against black people, that's for sure.
For 5 points, who was the sponsor?
Oh, man, Aunt Jemima. No. Oh, Wild Ben.
Mott's Apple Juice. Mott's Apple Juice. Yeah. Amos and Andy, brought to you by Mott's Apple Juice. I remember
that was
yesterday.
One of my true false questions, yeah. All right, where are we at with Ron? We're going for 3? Okay.
Yep, going for 5. Here we go. Baseball. The late Frank Thomas, a member of the original 1962 Mets, hit 34 home runs in that initial 1962 year, a team record that stood until 1975 for the Mets when it was broken by
I think I know this.
Don Clendenin, Art Shamsky, Ron Swoboda, or Dave Kingman.
Okay, I don't know that one.
Let's go C.
C.
Not Swoboda. The obvious one, Dave Kingman, the much-traveled Dave Kingman.
Hit like 211 that year and had a bunch of home runs. I remember
35 home runs.
A lot.
Yeah.
As a New York Met. Frank Thomas, by the way, I mentioned this because Pat Fox was, sending me a message that he had passed away. And, I do remember Frank Thomas because my uncle lived in Syosset, Long Island. And I had to spend a couple of weeks at my aunt and uncle's house while my mother was briefly ill. And Frank Thomas had a house that he rented right in that neighborhood there. And it was just like with Larry Bernarth in our hometown of Belmore. Any kid could ride up there on a bicycle, ride up the driveway, knock on the door. Frank Thomas's lovely wife would come out and say, "Okay, what do you have?" You'd hand him, a couple of baseballs. Hand the wife a couple of baseballs, and a couple of days later, come back, and Frank Thomas would go to the Mets locker room and have all the Mets actually sign it.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, and give it back to the kids.
Oh my God.
And that was a fairly common thing. I mean, that was one of two examples I can cite personally. Having experienced with Larry Bernarth also. So he was a real nice guy, Frank Thomas, as well as being a good ball player. Yeah. He hit a lot of those homers off that 250-foot bank shot there that they had at the Polo Grounds. You remember that?
Yeah.
I mean, Choo-Choo Coleman would be going from his catcher's position out to the wall there to catch like a high fly, and it would go in for a home run. It was fantastic. All right, here we go. For a total of 7.
Football, Ron. Yep. Tom Brady's 66 pass attempts on Monday night were the most ever by him. One more than the 65 passes he attempted versus this team.
Or
was it
versus
the Bears?
Whom? Yeah.
The Bears, the Bengals, the Raiders, or the 49ers?
Let's go Bears.
Bears.
No.
The Bears, no.
2012, it was the 49ers. Tough draw,
All right,
Ron.
good luck tonight. Thanks. You're not totally out of this thing yet, but at least by
Yes,
the
he
usual
is.
standard of the game, you're
He should be at least.
it's like stick a fork in that, man. All right, dial us up if you want to play. 954-417-0070. 954-417-0070. Lubie, later on tonight, will be at Landlubbers in Plantation, Florida. It's an outstanding sports bar. Has he done any remodeling in there in the last,
They've
many
opened
years?
up that one room. They put more.
Because they used to have a little horseshoe kind of configuration there, where there was a room and then there was a room.
The other room, they put more TVs, and then they also took up the wall that sort of closed off.
Yeah.
So it opened up the whole place, and it's just
That was a good move. Yeah. Always good to knock down a wall. That's fantastic. All right. 954-417-0070. While we line up people on the phone, Gurggles, tell us about Perdomo Cigars.
Yeah, this is the time of the year when you're out on the golf course, if you're going to Hialeah Park and you're outside watching the flamingos, or just if you're in your Florida room or your backyard at home, nothing says perfect like a Perdomo cigar. 305-627-6700, the number to call. 5150 Northwest 167th Street, the place to go. Open 9 to 5, make that 9 to 6, an extended hour, Monday through Friday. You can't miss it on the Palmetto on the south side, a little east of Home Depot. Go in there, see Nick Jr., see Nick Jr.'s lovely wife, Lauren, expecting their first child, another grandchild for the Perdomos, probably in March. And go into the humidor. My favorite, the Lot 23, if you like something a little stronger, the 20th anniversary. Connecticut wrapper, Maduro wrapper, they make them perfect one at a time. Once again, 305-627-6700, the number to call. And also 5150 Northwest 167th Street, the place to visit. Now, you want one Saturday or Sunday? Not a problem. Go online to www.perdomocigars.com to find a retailer near you that sells these great cigars. So this weekend, when the Bills march towards the Super Bowl by beating the Bengals, put something great in your mouth with a cigar from Perdomo Cigars.
We would have been 2-4, Gurggles, if we made the 16 parlay. 2-4.
That wouldn't work.
Mike Mayo, however, gave us 6 losers. And had we gone, anti-Mayo or reverse Mayo, we would have hit for 48-1, 16 parlay, 48.
Wow, that's the old Tom Jicka theory, wasn't it? The theory of reversibility, I think. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he was a reverse logic guy, and
right.
but in this case, it would just be find of kiss of death, which Mike, he was pretty sure about a lot of these things. His best bet was, of course, the Chargers, who were up 27-0 and lost.
It was.
All right. I'm not sure if this is a first, but it'll be interesting to see what happens here. You can dial us up if you want to play 954-417-0070. 954-417-0070. Gurggles, toss out our next set of questions here. Lubie's already rolling a scramble.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah. This is like Mike McDaniel play clock management. Where, it's like, wait, a timeout? No, we don't have any more. Run something.
All right, hockey.
Exactly. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Do something.
this famed hockey player being interviewed when an interviewer noted that it was Anna Kournikov's 18th birthday. He said, or the day I can legally start telling people, everyone, that I've slept with Anna Kournikova. What's that? Sergei Fedorov, Boris Badinov, Boris Becker, or Woody Woodpecker?
Nice he had a sense of humor about this particular young lady. All right, there's a scrambler rolling in its proper capacity now. We got the thing oiled up and lands on well. And I believe this is a first. I don't know. You kill time, the doctor's office by doing what? Women are filing their nails or whatever, reading a magazine, watching, Entertainment Tonight there on TV. Guys are like playing with their phone as if there's really something going on in their lives. But never, I don't think, from a doctor's office have we had a contestant on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Lenny the Chronic. Another category you lead in. I mean, you're like the Joe Montana of this show.
I think Andy owns the hospital calls.
Oh yeah. But I mean, a doctor's office waiting room. Yeah, I know Andy the old time. I mean, he was literally like strapped into a surgical gurney, and as he was having like a heart procedure done, he was on the phone going, "Wait, no, I know it's C." They're like, dousing him with ether to make sure that he doesn't have any consciousness while he's getting his heart cut open. All right, you were in the show, Lenny, and you have 1 point. Did you give us an A?
Well,
yes, he gave us.
Give an A.
Okay, very good.
Lenny, I hope everything goes well with the doctor. And if you're reading that highlights magazine, the upside down rabbit in the tree is up on the left side. Okay, here we go.
They always have like a Golf Digest with like Dow Finsterwald on the cover. Like, when did they only get magazine deliveries every 50 years in doctors' offices? I mean, is that even in vogue anymore to have magazines? It's crazy. Why would you ever buy new ones? I mean, no one reads them anyway. All right. You have 1 point.
Baseball, Lenny, true or false? Another Frank Thomas question. During their run for the pennant in '64, the Phillies released slugger Frank Thomas because of an altercation between him and manager Gene Mock, in which Thomas lifted him off the ground and placed him on a hook in the dressing room. True or false?
Why not? True.
No, made that up. I was saying he was such a nice guy to sign those balls for the kids,
No, he hit Richie Allen with a bat, and they released Frank Thomas after that.
Ooh.
Wow. He was always a good slugger, this guy. All right, you were
He was.
naturally with 1 point going for 4 here, Lenny, after missing the true-false question.
Yeah.
All right, hockey, Lenny. I know that's one of your favorite sports. Which of these teams did the legendary Herb Brooks not coach in the NHL? He coached several teams. Which are the ones did he not coach? The Flyers, the North Stars, the Devils, or the Penguins?
Devils.
No, it was my hometown Philadelphia Flyers that he didn't coach.
You got Tortorella there now, man. He's always immersed in some kind of controversy, Tortorella. And I guess he was doing pretty well early in the season. I haven't followed him of late there, but the latest was this, I don't know, what was he, some kind of staunch religious Russian player that refused to recognize that gay people, are in the country, have like, should be treated well. And but he said it was a religious thing. I'm thinking, what religion is that? Not sure. Anyway, Tortorella naturally, deflected all of the controversy and, did it with his usual aplomb. All right, going for 6 points here, Lenny. And this would put you in the lead. A familiar position.
All right, baseball, Lenny. In 1958, Frank Thomas's perhaps best year in the majors, he finished second in the in the National League MVP voting. He finished second that year, too.
Ooh, wow, good question.
Warren Spahn, Roberto Clemente, Ernie Banks, or Stan Musial?
Still Ernie.
Ernie Banks.
Let's play 2.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Nice job, man. I think I had multiple Ernie Banks baseball cards, probably in pretty decent condition. Chucked them all, man. I don't know why that was a ritual. Was it a ritual where you were growing up in Pennsylvania that, as a symbol of your manhood and the transformation, it was almost like a bar mitzvah of sorts, where you would take your baseball card collection and just toss it in the air, like you were, Floyd Money Mayweather at a strip club. And you would paper the house, and then all the little kids would go grab your cards. And probably the smart ones saved all your Ernie Banks mint condition rookie
Yeah,
card.
yeah.
And they're now worth $1 zillion today while we're here struggling. Unbelievable. All right, we have Lenny in the lead here with 6 points. Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Hialeah Park, and don't forget about the handicapping contest. It's January 29th. Going to be a heck of a lot of fun. And, your chance to win a seat in the NHC, that's the big thing. If you win the contest, you're also going to win a big package of the prize fund. Was several dimes the last time. And then you keep your money, and you're a winner for the day. Unreal. And even if you don't win the contest, you could still end up a winner because you're playing with your own bankroll. It's an ideal tournament, just absolutely fantastic. So check it out. It's hialeahpark.com for the entry, and it's taking place a week from this Sunday at beautiful Hialeah Park. All right, coming back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
Excuse me, it's 8:02.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
We hand the ball to one Dave Gurggles Gergely.
'Twas the Thursday before Christmas, just a little before 8. No longer on radio, but this YouTube thing could be great. We're live with Lubie and Defo and their Hanukkah menorah, and me at the golf course with people yelling, Hora! While callers line up to use the phone line, just one, alas, the Hialeah Trivia Challenge still is great fun. The questions are all asked with great glee by Gurggles, the evil seed, who hope no one scores a total more than 3. With hopes that the show will draw folks from near and far, one thing is for sure, you certainly can't beat a Perdomo cigar. All the best to Leslie Visser from BC and the Duke who went to Harvard or Yale. We're proud to know 2 folks who we can call if we need bail. The guys each give their ideal gifts just for fun. For Defo, it's Luca Panici in a back wheel at 50-1. To Lubie, who works hard every single day, another trip with his wife Shirley to Hawaii so he can get a lay. Now it's time to end this tale and get on to the show. So let's hear from the red-suited man with his constant ho-ho-ho. On Ron, on Andy, on Pat, Mike, and Lenny the Chronic, whose many certificates make Alex Dufresne switch from coffee to doubles of gin and tonic. Merry Christmas from Defo, Lubie, and Gurggles to all of you all. And for the new year, Paulie Man, our favorite, how about a little easy baseball?
That's brilliant, man.
That was amazing. Good job.
That might have been your best one.
That was great.
I know there have been others that we
I
said the
love
same
that.
thing, because you're only as good as your last film. But that was tremendous, Gurggles.
The best way to kick off your day is with Defo. That's Lubie. We now return to the Defo Show.
Like we always say, fuck Robert Frost. Who needed that guy, right? Got Dave Gurggles Gergely here, man. Poet emeritus or whatever that would be. Always outstanding. I mean, he comes up big every week, Gurggles, but, especially around the holidays there's nobody better than having Dave Gurggles Gergely on the show. And we're in the midst of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge here, and a good game working. Chronic comes through with Ernie Banks. Pretty good, impressive answer there. And he gets the old Let's Play 2. Ernie Banks question correct. So he has 6 points. He's in the lead. We have time to play for, or time for a few more players to get in. 954-417-0070. 954-417-0070. The Landlubber's gift certificate at stake. And I mean, think about this. You get to meet in person Mike Lubie Lubitz if you, go out there on a Thursday night and participate in the live trivia contest. And the professor. who, is not exactly a social butterfly, the professor.
He's nicer than I am.
Yeah, you hate the players.
Versus,
That's great.
Of a jerk.
You could come across as grumpy anytime, man. I used to come in the morning, Gurggles, and I've never seen a. You came in a few times, right? To the studio there, and
I was nice to Gurgs.
Yeah, once or twice. Yeah.
But I would come in and go, "Hey, Lubie, how you doing?" He goes, "What does it look like I'm doing? I'm working." It's like, no, hello, nothing. Like, hey, Deef, man, I'm glad you're still alive. And then we, go bark out like 4 hours of radio, which, unfortunately, it dried up at a time where it wasn't appropriate. But here we are today, still prospering. So it's all good. All right, ready to go. 954-417-0070. Lenny in the lead with 6 points. And here's Dave, our next set of questions.
Football. This former NFLer on growing up a little bit on the poor side said, "We were so poor."
How poor were you?
A robber once broke into our house and we ended up robbing the robber. Shannon Sharp, Mike Shannon, Del Shannon, or Del Unser?
All right, let's roll the Renophone Scrambler. This may eclipse, our previous distinctive moment here on the show when Lenny, the Chronic, called in from the doctor's waiting room. And he has called us while being wheeled into surgery. And we welcome our good friend Andy to the show. Andy, you're on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, my friends. It's either Del Unser or A. I've noticed a pattern that A is commonly an answer.
It's come up quite frequently, I have to admit. I mean, you think the boys would mix it up a little bit. Yeah. If they did, though,
right.
we would lose the whole concept of the game. It's
Let's say that's.
Yeah.
20 years ago, when the first time I heard the show, when I first moved down here, I think it was the first week. After like the first 3 questions, I said, "Hey, I think I'm the only guy that realizes that A is always the answer."
Well, that came from the participation trophy concept, where you didn't want anybody to get shut out and walk away feeling ashamed that they had played the game. So this way, everybody at least had 1 point. And it was a good thing. Paulie Man, when he used to make his occasional appearances on the Dolphin Stadium field before the game with me, people would be shouting from the rafters. We could hear him all the way down there on the field going, "The answer's A, Paulie Man." So he became world renowned for that. All right, you have 1 point, Ron. Andy, and you're in the game.
Andy.
Yeah.
All right. And don't get confused. Those people yelling A from the top deck were French Canadians who bought the cheap seats to the Dolphin game. All right, here we go. All right, Andy. Football, true or false? Believe it or not, recently departed Italian film star Gina Lollobrigida was at one time linked romantically to Green Bay Packers golden boy Paul Hornung. True or false?
I think that's true. True.
I'm going to go true. No. If anybody could have pulled it off, it was Hornung. Yeah.
No.
Really?
Hornung was great. I mean, I'm sure you ran into him many times at the track. He was always holding court at Gulfstream.
I ran into him at Gulfstream. Yeah, the old Gulfstream.
Hialeah also. But, at Gulfstream, I remember he used to hang out at that. There was a bar out by the paddock area there, an outdoor bar as you came in through the clubhouse entrance. And it was a gas. You'd be hanging out with Paul Hornung, just shooting the breeze, shooting the shit. And he couldn't have been any more accommodating. He was a really, really good guy.
All right, Andy, 3-point question. This is a combination of sports here. Brooks Robinson, the great third baseman for the Orioles, was quite a basketball player. In fact, upon graduating from high school, he was offered a full scholarship to play basketball at what college? University of Missouri, Loyola, DePaul, or University of Arkansas?
Wow, I never knew that. I thought he was a little too slow to be a basketball player. I'll go with Arkansas.
It's correct.
Yes. Well done.
Oh, very nice. All right, 4 going for 9 here. This will put you on top, Andy.
All right, Andy. This is kind of an opinionated question, but still a fact. Golf. According to an article in Golf Operator magazine, they listed the top 10 golfers of the 1970s. With Jack Nicklaus as number 1, who was number 2?
Wow.
Was that Arnold Palmer, Lee Trevino, Gary Player, or Johnny Miller?
Joey Trevino.
Yes.
Lee Trevino.
Well done.
Wow, tremendous.
Well done.
I mean, waffled a little bit on that true-false question. Otherwise, a perfect score sits there at 9.
Yeah.
Chronic has 6. You can dial us up if you want to play, 954-417-0070. 954-417-0070. Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Handicapping contest on tap a week from Sunday. That's going to be a blast. You have the big Pegasus thing going on. And like you said, Gurggles, I don't know. I mean, we have, a great relationship with Gulfstream Park also, and, do the Mike Mayo lunchbox out there. I'm just not inclined to, lay out like a $1.25 unless I'm going to like the Kentucky Derby and it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity or something like that. I don't know. But they were trying to make this like a special event. And I guess they get a really good crowd for it. So obviously
they will get a good crowd. But the ideal thing, think about it. You're not sure about the handicapping contest and you're wavering a little bit. Why not go to Hialeah Park Friday before the Pegasus, get the advance edition for Saturday while you look over the grounds. Saturday, go out there for Pegasus to Hialeah Park, get your own carousel for $10. Get Sunday's form. You hit Saturday, you win 500 automatically. Bingo, you go right into the contest. 3-day weekend at Hialeah Park, and you get into the contest, and you bet Pegasus while you're there.
I mean, the only thing missing is a hotel right there on the grounds. How great would that be?
Yeah, well,
I don't know if there are any plans for that, but wow. I mean, and then you could just stay there the entire time, taking all of that.
Well, there are plans. I don't know if you saw it. There are plans behind the backstretch as it faces Palm Avenue for actually housing. They're going to put apartments in there. It's a big deal that is finally going through. It would be on the backside right there. And they're going to have a medical center. They're going to have all kinds of great stuff that'll be there right adjacent to that. And so, you can rent an apartment there and you'd be fine.
This is the direction the world is going in. And maybe it's a fortunate one for us as, we would be normally in the end game. We're like Aaron Rodgers, right? Debating every year whether to come back, except without the money. And the babes, maybe. But and the bad haircuts, right? I mean, isn't it nice to know that you have something better than Aaron Rodgers?
Wow.
No matter what haircut you have. I mean, even when Lubie looks like he got whacked by like a weed whacker, I mean, it's going to be better than Aaron Rodgers. That last thing, what was that? It was like a Hitler Youth look he had, working.
I think
Crazy.
He was auditioning for a version of Robin Hood and his Merry Men. He looked a little bit like one of their haircuts. Yeah.
It's like Lord Fauntleroy, right? I mean, what the hell is that? All right. Mark Davis is the other guy with a mystery haircut. But
his haircut sucks.
Yeah, you're thinking the owner of the Raiders? I mean, come on. You got to use a little more imagination than that, don't you? I mean, what do you do? I mean, do you even go to a barber for that? Or you just, let any bum off the street cut your hair and give him like $100 bill and make his day?
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Ready for our next set of questions here. And then we'll get to the finals of this week's edition of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Andy in the driver's seat right now at 9, and the catbird seat being held down by Lenny the Chronic at 6. And here we go with Dave.
Boxing. This journeyman fighter, on the effect of all the punches he took, recounted, when I started boxing, I was 6 foot 1 inch when I started. But with all the uppercuts, I'm up to 6 foot 5 inches. What's that? Chuck Wepner, Chuck Woolery, Chuck Connors, or Chuck Tanner?
The Bayo Bleeder. All right. Here's the Ranophone Scrambler. And we have Pat, the great Pat Fox. You're on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Good morning,
guys. A?
A's correct. You have 1 point during the game.
Got it.
All right. Very nice.
And I know Pat's a big boxing fan. So this boxing, true or false?
Yeah.
Prior to teaming up with Stan Laurel, rotund Oliver Hardy tried his hand at boxing, going 1-6-2 as a amateur heavyweight fighter. True or false?
Oliver Hardy. He lived in England. I'll say true.
True. No.
No. He was a
Yeah.
golfer. He was
far-fetched.
and he wasn't in England. Stan Laurel was in England. They met in California. But that's another matter, Pat. Don't worry about it.
Once you get to 1 and 6,
All right, here we go.
Throw in a towel too. Yeah, I mean that's about it. All right, one going for 4.
Yep. Here we go. Golf. Who is the defending champion in this week's PGA West American Express golf tournament? Was that Tom Hogue, John Kenton Court, Justin Thomas, or Hudson Swafford?
Thomas.
Thomas. No.
No. It's Hudson Swafford, who is going over to the Live Tour, as a matter of fact. So he won't be competing.
Do we think of these guys as rotten defectors there with no integrity whatsoever, or just
No, it's just something you and I would do in a heartbeat. For the money, the three of us would do that in a heartbeat. I wouldn't care about
We'd
that.
be doing the show in Arabic. Yeah, you're right. So
yeah, that's
a crash course.
Google Translate.
All right, yeah, let's be honest about it. I mean, we don't have any, kind of character in that direction. That's for sure. If it's free, it's me. Okay, very good. And here we go. It's a big one here for Pat. This is tie you for second place with the Chronic.
All right, Pat, once again, the legendary Frank Thomas of the Mets original passed away. During his 16-year career, Frank Thomas played every infield and outfield position but one.
All right.
What was that? Center field, shortstop, second base, or third base?
I'll take a guess. Shortstop.
Shortstop.
That's a good
Correct.
guess.
Oh, wow.
That's the one. Yep.
Hey, that creates quite a hectic situation here. We're going to have to consult Brandon Staley and see what he would do to, mess this thing up. We have the Chronic and Pat tied at 6 points, and Andy's going to make the finals with 9. Lubie rolling the scrambler to select the second place.
Such a shock. It's
What?
Pat.
Pat. Oh, wow, the Chronic aced out. What a surprise.
Oh, sorry, Chronic.
Fucking Roger
You said
Goodell
with
has
a
nothing
laugh.
on us. I mean, come on, baby. These Salugi plays. I was hoping a Polyman would come on today because, nobody put the Salugi play more in focus than the Polyman Paul Massell. And look how it's absolutely warped the betting world this past season in the National Football League. It's insane to think. Imagine what if he falls one short of Shula, Belichick? Will he hang himself? Because he lost that record by one game, and it happened in that Raider game with the Salugi play. Are you kidding me?
He won't.
A clown play could have cost this guy like his entire Hall of Fame legacy. All right, we're ready for the finals here. One more word about Perdomo Cigars, I guess, would be in order here as Lubie puts this all together.
Yeah. 305-627-6700. Call them today between 9 and 6. Monday through Friday, they're open. You say, I'd love to go there in person. That's a great idea. 5150 Northwest 167th Street on the access road on the east side, the south side of the Palmetto, a little east of Home Depot. Go in and see Nick Jr., his lovely wife, Lauren, expecting their first child and Nick's second grandchild, and celebrate with a Perdomo cigar. Whether it's a box or a single cigar or a little variety pack, you can't go wrong with a cigar from Perdomo Cigars. So don't wait. Go today. 305-627-6700 if you don't make it during the week. And you can also go online, www.perdomocigars.com, to find the retailer near you that sells these great Perdomo cigars.
All right. There's some screaming there on the sidelines about the game possibly being not on the level. I can assure you we conduct this program with the utmost commitment to integrity and fairness of play. So
how comes the wheel had Pat's name 12 times and Lenny's once? I don't know if
kind of like Lenny was playing for the 20, where you got to get the Harry symbol
dollar thing in the casino,
and it always happens to go right past that into the 1 in agonizing fashion there, as your entire last $20 is sitting there looking to collect 400, and you're like, oh my God. It's insane. All right, we do have Pat. He won the draw, and Andy, of course, who won the game outright in regulation. And we'll see where they stand. Are they going to be like that guy Marr? I think the Dallas Cowboys got rid of him, the kicker. They signed like another kicker. Where they just
they're keeping him supposedly.
Supposedly
they're keeping him. He was 4 of 5 misses from extra points, and they're keeping him supposedly.
Yeah.
That's my finals question, guys. Easy.
I think they signed Pete Gogolak. Would have a better shot of making an extra point at that stage. He had missed 5 in a row. If we were in one of those contests where you kick a field goal for $10,000, I think we could make 1 of 5.
At least 1
from that distance. No, maybe not with like big fat guys coming at us, but Just standing there with a guy, holding the thing, with one finger on the thing, and you're hoping not to break his finger. All right, here we go. Gurggles is going to fire off a question. Guys, call out your name if you'd like to answer. If nobody answers right away, we'll offer multiple choice. The first person to call out his name gets first choice. We go back and forth until we have a winner. This is for the Landlubber's gift certificate, and good luck to both of you gentlemen, as you can, possibly be alongside one Mike Lubie Lubitz, maybe as soon as tonight. And enjoy all of the hospitality you get there at Landlubber's, including great chicken wings, man. I mean, they really do have. They're among the leaders all time in sports bar chicken wings here, and just chicken wings in general in South Florida. Sufreen really got into it, right? He might have been the first with the garlic parmesan.
Was. We never
arrangement.
heard of it until he did it.
It's like, what are you fucking talking about? Garlic parmesan. Delicious, Gurggles. I'm telling you. Well, you've been there.
I'm a peel and eat shrimp guy. They got great peel and eat shrimp. Really good. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Too much, sugar and mess for me. Yeah. If I'm going to order a shrimp, I want it peeled, and I'll be ready to eat it, instantaneously. All right, here we go. Here's a question for the championship of this week's Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge.
Good luck, guys. They were talking about the aforementioned Brett Maher's 4 missed points after touchdown, ranked second postseason all time to this kicker who missed 6 points after touchdown in his career.
Wow.
My God.
Nobody? All right, here it was. Was it Errol Mann, Mike Kofer, Booth Lustig, or Roy Jarella?
Wow. Could be any of them.
Andy.
Andy. Who was it?
Andy?
I go with Kofa.
Kofer. Incorrect. 3 left for Pat.
Was it Errol Mann, Booth? Was it Errol Mann, Booth Lustig, or Roy Jarella?
B.
B as in Booth Lustig?
You said B.
Incorrect.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 left for Andy.
Andy, Errol Mann, or Roy Jarella?
I guess Jarella played in a lot of playoffs. I'll go with Jarella.
Jarella is correct.
That's exactly right. Errol Mann was with the Lions. They didn't get there that often. And
All right,
Booth
nice
Lustig
job,
was a member of the Miami Lakes Athletic Club. All right, Andy, you got something to use tonight.
Well, and you give Andy, a chance to play at full health, and he is tough to beat, man.
Yeah, exactly.
He was hospitalized with this COVID-19 thing not that long ago, and now look at him standing as a champion on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. All right, anything immediately coming up, Gurggles, that fans should be aware of?
No, just plenty of golf, plenty of groups out here. We've had Levon and Orlando Hernandez out here playing a little bit.
Who's a better golfer?
Yeah. Well, Orlando's a more subtle golfer, but Levon can smack him. He can hit him pretty good. Yeah.
What kind of size is
he
Levon
said,
right now?
Just the other day, he said, "I love you, par 5." So that's it. He was pretty good.
What kind of size is he carrying these days? Would you say he's a large guy?
He's lost a little weight. He looks pretty good.
Okay.
He's
Okay,
lost.
good.
He's lost a little weight. He's done pretty good. So,
Nice
gentlemen,
guy.
have a great week, and I may catch you tomorrow afternoon. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll be out there.
Lubie will be out there.
No.
I probably have to scratch, but
do it,
due to the
I gotcha.
COVID considerations. Yeah. So
I
mean,
gotcha.
out of
Okay.
respect to the other people.
Get
out
better.
there. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, I can't complain at all. We're ready to carry on and take you right to 9 o'clock here. So stick around for the show. Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge is always a good time for us, and appreciate you guys taking part in it. All right. Excuse me. And we will be back on that note with more in a moment here. And I'll get into my Australian Open stuff because it's interesting what's happening with American tennis. There have been people crying for years about the wretched state of American tennis. It's not as bad. It's just that we don't have that, upper echelon guy. Maybe Taylor Fritz was about to be that guy, and he fought his way through he lost last night. Taylor Fritz to this guy, this lanky Australian who I'd never heard of before. What was just dynamite. I mean, it's a landmine laced field in all of these Grand Slam events, Lubie. I know you're not a big tennis fan.
Well, I
but the
was.
competition
I
is
love
insane.
tennis. I just haven't watched it in years. But yes, I watched last year because Alcaraz was very fun, and it was
Alcaraz was outrageous last year. I mean, he really was. I was mentioning the other day. I watched a couple of his matches from last year. They just happened to be replaying them while I was searching for wherever the Australian Open coverage was, and I'm like, my God, how exciting was this kid? He was unbelievable. But yeah, already some Americans scoring some upsets. And people have been screaming about this forever. I don't know if it's going to amount to anything, Libby. That's the problem, right? It's kind of like the same situation with Tua Tagovailoa, if you wanted to make a local parallel here. I was also trying to think. I don't know. Can you think of like a great local comeback story? Zoe might be one, although he came back after all of the kidney problems, and distinguished himself as a very prominent role player, and actually was a very significant catalyst in the Heat winning that championship. What year was that? Was that like 2006 that they won with the Zoe Man? Carrying his share of the weight when
he was better.
Shaq was useless. Yeah.
They went small, and Shaq couldn't hang with Eric Dampier for some reason, and Zoe dominated defensively.
A bloated shank, it was barely able to make it up and down the court. I mean, there's the guy that should be having one of those oxygen monitors, at least that year with the Heat. A little too much of a good life, man. No doubt about it. I mean, and deservedly so for Shaq, right? He's been a good guy and sort of an ambassador for good vibes. Has he not been? The Shaq Comedy Jam, that thing's hysterical if you ever watch that.
Yeah, that's
and nobody busts up more than Shaq making fun of himself.
So, make fun of Shaq a lot.
Yeah. Anyway, that year though, I mean, Pat Riley. I mean, if you ever wanted to see like the definition of dead weight, it was Shaq.
In the finals.
That year for Pat Riley, right?
In the finals.
And so that was a good comeback. I mean, but who else? Was there somebody else made like a remarkable? Had tremendous setbacks, came back. Dwayne Wade, I mean, he was always coming back.
All the time. Remember, after the shoulder, he wasn't supposed to be the same.
But he wasn't really a comeback story, would you say?
Finals. Pennington, when Pennington came from the Jets had written him off, and then Parcells signs him, and he ended with Soprano and ended up being like an MVP candidate.
Right.
So that was a comeback story.
He couldn't throw the ball 5 yards downfield. It was amazing.
Even that year for the Dolphins.
Yeah.
He was better.
It was like watching Randy Jones work a no-hitter into the 8th inning. I was like, well, when is this guy going to throw something, that looks like a major league pitch? All right. We're coming back with more in a moment. Feeling good. I'll get into some of this tennis stuff, if you don't mind. I don't know. We must have some tennis fans out there in our audience. It's just interesting from an overall sports perspective, from many different angles, all the different storylines that there are in both men's and women's professional tennis. Back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
8:29.
Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. Since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
I have sinned against you, my Lord.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on The Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. Our thanks to Dave Gurggles Gergely conducting another brilliant edition of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Jeff DeForest, we got Mike Lubie Lubitz, and later on today, scheduled to have, and I think he had a meeting with the big boys yesterday out in Las Vegas, Brandon Lang on our Believe podcast, which we're trying to convert into our Greenlight Ventures package, and I think it'll be nothing but successful, huh? I mean, degenerate's degenerate there. He may have to, due to certain considerations, clean up some of the language on the program. No,
I don't know. I am curious. Anyone who has listened may have the same sentiments. His infatuation with trannies. It feels like he's not attracted to them, but he has a thing with. I don't know. I'm very curious where that stems from.
And to be so forthright with it. I mean, it's not like he's in the closet about this stuff. Speaking of Brandon Lang here, we should take a quick look before we get into some of this tennis matter at the line movement, potential line movement. Now, this is yesterday's news tomorrow, my Bulldog edition of the New York Post here. So these lines might have changed even slightly since then, but they're really only moving slightly one way or the other, and that's not even in every game. The Eagles remain 7 and a hook over the Giants, from what I have. I don't know. You have a more accurate
7 and a hook. Right now, 7 and a hook.
Okay.
Yes.
Chiefs, which were 9 to open, now 8 and a hook over the Jaguars. Slight movement, Jaguars favor, giving them a shot to be within a touchdown for a team that is horrible and was among the worst. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think, beat them out because the Chiefs covered a couple of games at the end of the season, but they were right there at like 3-10-1 through 14 games against the spread. So the Chiefs, as well as they were playing in terms of winning ball games, they were not winning by wide enough margins. Always getting very top consideration in terms of being a big ass favorite. 8.5 over the Jaguars, and wow, I mean, it's not like you look at that and go, "Oh my God!" I mean, how do you not take this team or the other?
Should cover it. It's just I don't trust the Chiefs. Now it is the playoffs. Exactly. Maybe they're figuring it out, but again, they had an extra week off, so maybe they're like.
Who knows? They're either like fresh as a daisy, and they pound these guys into the ground. The Jaguars, who were life and death to beat the Chargers, who are fueled largely by self-sabotage, mostly initiated by their coach, who was a catalyst for disaster. It seems like. I mean, maybe a very nice guy, this Brandon Staley. I don't know him. Seems like a decent, honest guy. I mean, I don't think he ever meant to hurt anybody, but man, has he killed bettors over the years? And maybe their career. I mean, this is why you don't respect Justin Herbert, because they don't win a lot. But I don't know that it's Herbert's fault. I think a different coach, and this guy looks more like a monster than he does like a guy that.
I'm not blaming him. They just don't win, and a lot of the time he has a ball in his hand, and they don't make things happen, and they have a lot of talent. But coaching, as we know, as we watch with the Dolphins, is as big a part of that as the player themselves. It's just there's already a second head coach, and I get it. Yeah. He's not doing the hirings, but Anthony Lynn was supposedly a good hire, failed. Staley was supposedly a good hire.
It looked good in spots. It really did. I mean, in the very beginning, didn't it seem like this guy was onto something?
Yeah, he has. Well, Staley's a good defensive mind. The problem is he has no idea on offense. We joke about that all the time, but I love when they fire the hitting coach and the offensive coordinator. Like the
OC man has to go.
LaFleur, yeah, because it's LaFleur's fault that Zach Wilson's their fucking quarterback. Like what do you?
I mean, the Dolphins are considering getting rid of this defensive coordinator. So I don't know if they have yet, but anyway, so and this is this a Jewish thing to naturally lean towards the chalk? No matter how hideous and no matter how well no matter how much it's been drilled into your skull, into the inner places in your cranium, that the points are always going to be a valuable consideration. So I don't know. I mean, my first lean is that the Eagles and Chiefs both prevail in their games. But it wouldn't shock me if the Giants won outright. And yet I don't expect it. And it would shock me if the Jaguars won outright. But, stranger things have happened also.
See, looking for an upset.
So a total toss-up, I think, both of those games in a lot of ways, no?
Spread-wise. I mean, just talking about the spread, because the spread's is bigger on those. The Chiefs game is ridiculous.
Well, we're not helping anybody with this analysis, are we?
Well, the Bengals are the one. If you want an upset, I can see the Bengals and Bills. The Bengals are pissed that they really didn't even get their chance to host the game. They played really good football. Allen is now just back to being the guy. He led the league in turnovers, I think, overall. Like,
That's the one line that's moving, in some kind of significant proportion because it's now 5.5. I think it started 4. The Bills are favored now by 5.5.
which is good. That if you're on the Bengals, maybe it'll grow to like 6 or 7.
I don't know if it'll go that high. I can't imagine that. They're not going to give you a touchdown in that game.
I'm leaning.
The Bengals were handling the Bills the last time they played. I mean,
Yep.
they were. I mean, on their way to cruising to a victory. I think.
And the Bills have been shaky. Like the Dolphins are a disaster, and the Dolphins should have won that game.
The Dolphins brought in a bunch of bag ladies to play them.
Yes.
I mean, NFL bag ladies, and nearly won. And with just a few things were done differently, might have won the ball game outright, which is a disgrace if you're the Buffalo Bills. Disgrace, and plus you were up 17 and cruising, and everything looked good. Yes. Josh Allen, has a lot of turnovers in the so-called red zone. Yeah, red zone turnovers.
Where he wants to make a play so bad that even if it's a stupid, like he throws these balls and he's like, I'm just gonna chuck it. It's like, why? Yeah. You're up 3 scores.
I know he fires these things all over the place. I'm a big Josh Allen fan.
He's a good player,
but in terms of the play, yes, I mean there are some erratic elements to it. That's for sure. Okay, so the Bills though. See, I figured they at 4 points. I figured they might be worth a play there. I don't know what I would do with that game either.
I would take Bengals.
So we're 0 for 3 in making decisions on these games.
I'll be definitive. I'll take the Bengals. I'll say Bengals with the spread.
I would be willing to take a shot with the Bengals with the spread. Now that it's 5.5. Yeah.
I mean,
the Bengals looked horrible in this last ball game though, and the fact that they're well, I mean, the treacherous point there is their offensive line was already bad. Protecting Joe Burrow. I mean, and Burrow, I guess, has a little bit of a tendency to hang on to the ball while he's in a pocket a long time, which can be an asset. And it also causes them to get sacked like an inordinate number of times. So, and I believe they're down like two more guys, and they're down to like real Scrabini offensive linemen.
Yes, they are.
I believe there was like a sighting of Richie Incognito. At a Skyline Chili in Cincinnati, stuffing his face there and causing a ruckus because the service he thought was poor. All right. Food fight was going on there. He would start one of those, incognito. But, I mean, offensive line desperation is never a good omen, especially with a frequently sacked quarterback like Joe Burrow. So that could be a problem. That would be definitely a concern. And yet I could also I could see them, having a good offensive day somehow miraculously and beating the Bills. So we tell you nothing so far. We're
I have to after last week, I have to go an upset of some kind, and that's the Giants. I love Andy and all these people that are on the Giants. They played great. Have they played great, or they just are a tough team? Like to me, the tough team always.
They played very, very well, I thought, against Minnesota. You couldn't fault what they did against Minnesota.
Minnesota's been helter skelter all year. Like the Dolphins were with Bridgewater and fucking Thompson and almost beat Minnesota. Like Minnesota's been all over the place all year. Andy was right there. Their record really was. It wasn't the Parcells. Their record wasn't who they were. They were overrated. They were
fucking Vikings. It's fucking Viking syndrome.
I don't think that's. Look, I don't know about the Eagles beating the Niners, but against the Giants, I think, and the spread, I think they can win and cover the spread. And the Chiefs, I think, finally will wake up. Like at some point, they have to just put a game together, like the Georgia did in the title game and in the playoffs.
We're like the Titanic here, really, are we not? I mean, I've got this like lefty lean here towards all of the chalk, and you're pushing back.
So that's why I'm trying to say the Bengals
against the tide here and saying, you know what? What if you took all the dogs? Would you end up prevailing at least by winning 3 of the 4 games? That's a valid question for it. And where does that leave us? So, I mean. We couldn't hit the 16 parlay. We didn't even come close. Fortunately, we didn't bet it. We wimped out. I was being criticized, wildly by one Jim Sarney for, saying, well, how could you imply all week that you were going to do this and then you don't do shit? Because we realized we had no chance of, calling it. We could have called it in, and it would have been a stick up and smoke, right away on the Sunday card.
I was going to get,
and who ruined us right away? The Dolphins ruined us right away in the first game.
100%. The Niners, because they were struggling and then they dominated. I was like, oh, okay. And then when the Chargers got up, I was about to go, good job by you. And then when the Jags came back, I was going to go, dang, that would have been interesting if we had won that. And then the Dolphins played. I'm like, oh, okay, good. Yeah. I'm glad he didn't do it.
Yeah, we were sitting there at 2-0, so you were thinking it's not out of the question here that we could hit this thing, and we're going to feel like real assholes because we didn't make the bet.
Well,
That would have I would have really felt like an asshole at that point.
we had 6.
That would have. I mean, I would never be as much as we look forward to the future and all of this gambling talk we're going to be able to do there with our Greenlight Ventures thing. I mean, I should be banned then from all future degenerate airwave broadcasts. No, at that stage.
Look, at least we weren't Mayo.
I could tell you, I don't have a firm opinion on any of these games. Nothing really strikes me as wow. I mean, how could you not play that? If you guys on the chat line have a game that you think is the lock of your lifetime, please feel free to share it with us. Because I mean, the Eagles, we don't know. The Giants, could they be within 7 and a hook? Yeah, I think so. Jaguars, Chiefs, I would lean towards going ahead and saying, you know what, everybody knows that the Chiefs suck against the point spread, so they'll probably cover this one.
Yes, that's
and win the game, by 10 points, even with I don't know that they'll either be in command of this game or, I mean, you would have to really question, what their season was all about the entire year because they should be able to handle the Jaguars, who got busted up pretty good by the Chargers the previous week. I mean, by all rights, the Jaguars are out of that ballgame. Credit them. I mean, they fought back. That was good. Doug Peterson obviously being highly praised for keeping his team spirits together. Trevor Lawrence, nice bounce back. You like to see that. Where a guy's falling completely apart and somehow, gets it together and says, okay, that's it, man. Here I come to save the day. Gets a little Mighty Mouse syndrome going and does it. Fantastic. You still had to be like run by a complete moron in Brandon Staley.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
To lose that game. Yeah.
When you're up by that much, and remember, it was 20. It wasn't like 27 starting the second. It was 27 all the way up until right before half. They allowed a touchdown right before half.
And then they gave up a late touchdown.
But still, that's 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like in a whole half. Like you should be able to hold on to that lead. To me, that's 100% on the coach. And the Chiefs at some point, it feels like they're going to do what all the great teams do. They're going to go, okay, now let's take it seriously. Like that's what it feels like to me. It is the playoffs. It's the second round. Like at some point, like they're going to put it together. Like that's.
I mean, if they're sharp, they will beat the Jaguars. Will they do it by 8.5 points? You would think they're probably 10 points better than the Jags. No. So is that line excessive? Jags. I mean, look, if you're making a wager, they don't guarantee you the money. So, I mean, are you willing to bet that the Jaguars can replicate what they did in the second half against the Chargers, against a team on the road now and playing in their second week of the postseason, still with Trevor Lawrence, who showed some very green elements in the first half of that game. He had a couple of unfortunate things. I mean, they were really working against him, too, the officials in the first half. Did you notice that? I mean, there's a guy, he's in a vice grip by the defensive back who then picks off the pass, and there's no call whatsoever. Yeah, and that was the second interception.
And I like Asante Samuel. He's a knoll.
Yeah.
But and he had 3 picks, but I'm like, when did they start this thing? And I feel like the last 3 weeks I noticed this, where they're letting the defensive backs play like it's 1988.
Yeah.
He was, and again, he's a knoll, and he had 3 interceptions in the first half, so it made FSU look good. Maybe one of them was a good play. The other 2, he was tackling. Like he was.
Yeah, it was outrageous. I mean, the guy could sit there. I mean, Staley had a reason to, want to get the starter's gun and put a bullet in there and, go Alec Baldwin on the thing, right? And just say, oh, shoot, I didn't know this was loaded. And I don't mean to make a joke of a very sad situation, but they're still investigating this thing. Oh, God, and somehow, I mean, magically, while Baldwin denies he pulled the trigger on a gun, which I mean, they hand him a loaded gun. Is he expecting that? No, I don't know. Who's at fault there? The person that put the bullet in the gun. 100%. You think?
Yes, 100%. It's not the actor. The actor doesn't do any of that.
The hell, man! You're not expecting somebody to hand you a loaded gun on a set, are you? A loaded fucking gun. That's crazy.
I would hope not.
That's something that happens in like a Hitchcock movie. What are you talking about?
100%. Yes.
Rod Serling,
yes, Twilight Zone. That's what I was saying. It feels like Twilight Zone.
All right, so this tennis. You're not watching any of that, I would imagine, Libby. It's in the middle of the night. Some great storylines there. There was a good win by an American, Tommy Paul, an American.
Nice.
Now on to the third round. He beat this guy who had a real good season last year. dogfight type of player. Davidovich Fokina. I don't know if you've seen this guy. Got a little ponytail in the back there. Not a particularly tall player, but man, he fights like a dog. Our man Diego Schwartzman, the Jewish entry in the Australian Open. Is he the only Jew in the Open? I'm not sure.
I would think.
Would be the appropriate. He
already
got
lost.
smoked by an American named Wolf and knocks out Diego Schwartzman, who's usually a very, very competitive player in the early rounds of these kind of tournaments. The Taylor Fritz, I mean, ended up losing this guy Poprin, who I've never heard of, I hadn't seen before. A tall, lanky Australian. The crowd was going bananas as he takes that thing in 5 sets and beats an American who was having a really good year last year, Taylor Fritz. And it's probably, I mean, he's known as much around the world for this hot girlfriend who is like a TikTok star or something, Lubie. And just has a smoking hot, like they showed a crowd and then they zero in on the player's box and you're like, who is that woman?
No, it's funny. The first thing that pops up with Taylor Fritz's girlfriend.
Right? It's not even Fritz. He was winning majors. He was doing all kinds of stuff.
House.
Beating Nadal. So, that Taylor Fritz match was kind of interesting, and he ends up losing that to this guy Poprin. Like I said, had a big serve and, played with a lot of moxie in that. I think Fritz might have been injured in that match, slightly compromised, not to the extent that Nadal was, but nonetheless, you're seeing a good showing so far by a lot of American men, including, I mean, doesn't this guy, and if I said to you, I want to introduce you, Liberty, to a friend of mine, this is Jensen Brooksby.
Is that really his name?
Jensen Brooksby. He's been kind of, on the periphery of making a little bit of a breakthrough for a while. He's had some good matches, some good wins. It was signs of an up and comer, right? But he knocks out the number 2 seed last night, Louie. Casper Ruud, who what was Casper Ruud not the name of the villain character in that movie Face Off with Nick Cage?
I don't know. It sounds familiar.
Yeah. And wasn't that? I mean, remember that stupid movie? What was Casper Ruud the name of the guy? But he's an excellent tennis player, and he really made a meteoric rise last year, and was ranked, I believe, at one point he might have been the number 1 player in the world for a brief period of time. And this Jensen Brooksby knocks him off in pretty impressive fashion.
I would never think Jensen Brooksby's from California. That feels like New Hampshire, Connecticut, Vermont.
Like what would he be, man, in an equestrian event? No?
It sounds like the guy with the ascot. And
he doesn't have the prototype weapons that you would normally associate with like a top-notch men's player. He doesn't have a big serve. So that would be, but it's not like he's ineffective serving the ball. He just, it's not like one of these overwhelming, rockets that you get from some of these other guys, which I don't know how you even see where the fuck the ball is going, much less get a racket on it. And they'll like take a full swing and like knock it back at 150 miles an hour. It's absolutely sensational. The women are playing some great tennis also. And so it's been interesting on the women's draw as well. I mean, the guy I'm waiting for to, have like a really big tournament is this guy Tsitsipas. Can he hold it together? Remember he had that wild match with Kyrgios last year. What was that? Was that Wimbledon? It was one of the big tournaments. And, I mean, it was crazy. And they were like firing balls at each other. And, rackets throwing. I mean, it went like into like a gladiator type of thing. But he's cruising so far, as are a bunch of others. This guy Shelton from the University of Florida, he's got a couple of victories already in the tournament as well. Relatively new, 20-year-old kid, I believe, from the University of Florida, where I think his father is the tennis coach for the Guiders. And he does a lot of celebrating. I mean, somebody's going to go ahead and hit him in the Adam's apple with a ball, I think. He doesn't do it like mocking the other player, but, I don't know. It's like a Gus Johnson with a racket, where after every point he's screaming and yelling, yeah, like routine points. He's going crazy and fist pumping the crowd, which is okay to be enthusiastic. But you know what? Look, you don't see Roger Federer, right? You don't come to Las Vegas and talk to a man like Mo Green like that, Michael. You just don't. So a very enthusiastic player. He seems to have like a faction of maybe ex-Gators around him that he's high-fiving all around. And it's exciting because at least it's an American player that, is making a rise. Because we really don't have anybody at the top, right? Who's at the top? John Isner? He's 100 years old, the 6'10" guy.
2 decades.
That's it. Tiafo, I mean, is a good player. Francis Tiafo. And he's off to a good start in the tournament, although getting more attention for like a bizarre outfit than his tennis play, which he really came on last year. I mean, this guy really, there's reason to be excited, Louis. That's what I'm trying to communicate to you.
I believe you.
Did I do a good job of that? No.
Did it? Yes.
That was as vague a sports analysis piece as we've ever had, I think.
What outfit is this?
What's that?
Like a painting. This outfit.
Yeah. Francis Tiafo, and all of these guys are in tough. I mean, look, this Casper Ruud was a hell of a player, and he gets knocked out by this Jensen Brusky guy. Who, can he take it further? Then that's a good question. Zverev, who was trying to make a comeback, a German player who had that, just tragic ankle injury. When was that? Was that in the French Open? And he was battling. Was he battling like Nadal or somebody, the eventual winner in the finals? And he was right there, toe to toe. And then he, I think that was where he rolled over his ankle, a vicious, ugly ankle injury. And he'd been out for a while. He got knocked out in the second round of the tournament. But nonetheless, it was kind of good to see him back. So we'll see how that story progresses as well. All right. Later on today, you can catch our Brandon Lang podcast. We'll see what happens. I mean, if he doesn't call us today, then maybe it didn't go well yesterday with Greenlight Ventures. Big Jack loves the guy that's behind this thing. All right, absolutely loves Brandon Lang because he was enamored with the fact that he was played, and this is something we always run by Brandon Lang. Like McConaughey played you in a movie, man.
Yep.
They couldn't find anybody less cool, to play. I mean, you got like the ultimate compliment that McConaughey plays your character. No,
my favorite is that. I forget. Stu Feiner tried to throw around that movie was about him.
Yes.
And then it's like the minute we met Brandon Lang and Brandon Lang said, it's like, yeah, that makes sense. Whenever Stu would say it, I'm like, dude, that doesn't make any sense. Like,
no.
The way you look, act is nothing like that character. And then when Lang, who it is based on, because he actually worked with them to make the movie, was like, that makes sense. He's a big, tall, strapping dude. He laid back.
Yeah.
Excited when he needs to. I was like,
and very confident in his selections.
This fits. That makes a lot more sense.
See, you have to have some kind of feeling for this. This week's games, I can honestly tell you, I have zero feeling for. In terms of, there is no game that I'm looking at here and going, wow. I mean, how could that line be that far out of whack? Is there one game that you would zero in on? I mean, I don't know. The Cowboys, was that an illusion?
Yes.
Or were they impressive enough to make you think that they're competitive with the 49ers and that it's worth taking 3.5?
I think the Niners kicked their ass. I don't know why I'm so on the Niners, but I am very confident in the Niners. Like I've always hated the Niners, and I don't care about Brock Purdy, but the way that team plays, it's just like it looks like no one's going to beat them, at least to me.
Very possibly so. I mean, the 49ers certainly have their vulnerabilities there. If the Cowboys are on their game like they were against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But the Buccaneers were like playing in quicksand all year also.
Yes.
They were one of the lowest scoring teams. I mean, it was all total career lows in terms of points and everything for Tom Brady, even though his yardage and statistics were high because he threw the ball in every play.
Yeah, he threw it. I didn't realize he threw it. Gurggles 66 times. Like, come on. Like, you can't
it's insane, yeah.
And like, that's ridiculous.
Right. I mean, Leonard Fournette, man, he was like the chief in Cuckoo's Nest, man. Just stand there and get fucking tackled. All right, we had fun today. I hope you guys did too. We kind of rambled our way through this thing because, serious medications kicking in here. Which
you did a good job, sir. Thank you.
I'm staggering my way through these last couple of shows, but we will have a Degenerate Friday show coming up tomorrow, and we'll get some real insight. And then check out Believe, BLEAV. Network later on, and around 11 o'clock we'll have our Brandon Lang thing posted up there, and that's always a lot of fun too. So and you get a lot of insight into these games because I'm sure he has much more of a commitment right now in terms of who he thinks is coming out on top than we do, which we gave you nothing but vagaries, generalities, and and no foundation that you could kind of wrap your arms around and say, okay, that's where I'm going this week. The 14 parlay, wow, that looms as a virtual impossibility, doesn't it? The 14 parlay, don't we have to go? We have to do it this week, no?
I mean, I'm down. Mayo released his picks, and then he released the reverse Mayo. So that's my.
But I don't think he can go 0-10. That's not, you know. No one goes 0-10. No one beats Vitas Gerulaitis 18 times in a row. Right?
Well, if he goes 0-10 and we did not cash in on it, then that's on us. That's the only problem is if he does.
See, but we always miss out on the Mayo opportunities. Because when he was, sarcastically, hoping that the Panthers got, swept in the next round of the playoffs after, being wrong about the Washington Capitals series, we should have known right away that he was going to be right about that. And we whiffed. So, and he was right about that. So now that he went 0-6, I don't think he can do it again. I think he's trying to go 0-6.
That's my problem is when you start doing the reversing, are you going against, like, what is your legit pick? I don't know what your legit pick is now because you're second guessing yourself.
Yeah, and I believe that he is going to confuse himself into a 1-3 situation. Yeah. So somehow he loses money no matter what he does. I will find out more about that 12 o'clock today. Maybe he does. I guess he's ready to release, this formula for disaster. And we'll talk to Brandon Lang. And Brandon Lang had a 2-in-1 week last week on the show. And, has been dynamite all year. He's been way ahead of the pack. So that's coming up 11 o'clock on Believe. We'll see you later on the Lunchbox here in South Florida Live. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to Dave. Lubie, we'll catch you in a little while as we leave you now that.
The time.
It's 8:57.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.